This video is intended to describe a lightblade talisman named Wisdom. Joining me today will be my whimsical stick figure chakra map, which I'll be referencing quite a bit for visual guide reference, as well as this blue leather, which will be installed after this video is concluded. So, first things first, this would be the primary blade scaffolding seen like so, through this emanation. Then, this would be the transmutation ratio, going up here like so, and then to the apex band. The reason I mention this first before I discuss the crystalline composition is the aspect of the energy design to recirculate the energy into what vaguely resembles a figure eight, to take all the excess energy and consistently recirculate it through its own subroutine. I will go ahead and start off with the transmutation ratio seen right here, which goes laterally like so, then up the side over here to this lateral band right here, then redirected right here to be its own quadrant of the transmutation ratio, which will work as a great diffuser of the excess current of this energy to ground and purify, and most importantly, make tangible the magic of this entire vibratory output. So starting off with the hematite seen right here, hematite's a fantastic iron-based mineral that takes all excess energies and tremendously grounds it through the root chakra into the earth stars, into the earth meridian matrix for reprocessing, as well as takes all other high-frequency radio energies and firmly grounds them to the root to encourage the excess energy of any other frequency, gets into the earth to have many purposes of keeping one connected to the earth plane, obviously quite advantageous, as well as being a tremendous way to make the magic real, to bring tangibility to the construct. Then subcapacitated by smoky quartz seen right here, which performs much of the same energy effect function of purifying negativity into positivity by firmly grounding all excess energy through the root chakra into the earth and into the earth for reprocessing. So the two together in tandem was what I deemed the transmutation ratio to be a tremendous tandem team right here to take these frequencies and firmly pull it all through the entire chakra column into the root, into the earth stars, into the earth for reprocessing, for two-way energetic dialysis to consistently purify and transmute negativity by consistently grounding into the earth is a big prerogative as well. And like I mentioned thrice, at least by now, it's also an agent to bring grounding to all the other frequencies seen here in this closed loop circuit to indeed make the magic real into tangibility of the third dimensional plane. And also, of course, running through the sequence of this right here, it grounds right into this lateral band to, of course, be a very grounding influence before it completes its circuit all the way to the apex band. Okay, so I'll discuss the apex band next. So at the very top, where the necklace eventually will be installed right here, is a combination of clear quartz to be a neutral energizer or subcapacitator to work as a neutral ambient accelerant of this particular frequency bandwidth at the very top. So the clear quartz is a very neutral programmable energy that makes for a very nice ambient frequency charge. Going into blue sapphire, a stone of royalty and notoriety, a great wind elemental 5th and 6th chakra stimulant, and of course is a corundum, which means it's a very strong atomical dense rate, which means it has an 8.5 or 9 oftentimes, and the hardness scale, which means it has a very strong dense atomical structure to make a very strong blue ray emanation. Hence it was traditionally known as a stone of royalty for thousands of years. Then going into clear quartz to neutrally accelerate into ruby, its red ray cousin. Ruby is the most famous root chakra stimulant in the mineral kingdom, that of the earth energy and zest for life. And it's also a stone of quite notarized antiquity and quite deified across the world as being a very powerful stone of magic, to be a very powerful root chakra stimulant of basically gusto for life. So the two of the apex band right here would be very complementary royal frequency aspect right here, which would be very conducive to a sovereign disposition of one's knowing thyself in that capacity, based on those two frequencies in tandem. Closing the circuit right back into its transmutation ratio like before, going through this entire quadrant to ground the excess energy and purify the entire process, going into the primary blade band seen right here. So starting off with the rutilated quartz, golden rutilated quartz is a tremendous accelerator of other energies, as well as it being a clear quartz with bands of golden rutile, which works as a massive accelerant of other frequencies in a circuit. Then going into the lovely famous lapis lazuli, quite literally a crystal that is the favorite of millions for thousands of years, and has been highly associated with one's higher sovereign self and associated with wind elemental 5th and 6th chakra stimulation to be a very powerful sovereign agent to indeed put one in touch with who they are indeed with creation in that capacity. As well as being a stone of Isis, its legendary crystalline influence and admiration for humanity is quite vast, so I'll omit it to save some time because that could be its own long dissertation on lapis, but quite simply, it is a very tremendous stone of ancient Egyptian utilization, as well as known very quite famously as a stone of sovereign inner king, inner queen archetype to really know thyself in creation and put one in touch with their cities or their psychic gifts in connection to who they really are. So it makes for a very fantastic higher truth wisdom generator, hence the aspect of wisdom is an archetypal name dubbed for this platform. And the crystalline output here is designed, of course, to honor the archetypal concept to be very much in resonance with the prerogative of being a device of wisdom, God willing. Then going from lapis lazuli straight into golden healer quartz. Golden healer quartz is a fantastic high heart gold white light source emanation alignment frequency structure. So obviously in vibrational engineering, having a clean shot to the source of creation goes a very long way. Hence it has such a prominent role of the primary blade band focus as ignites its sequence to have the rutilated quartz intensify the capacity of one's highest truth in conjunction with the source of creation emanation, which therefore would put one in a very strong wisdom disposition by intention to be in touch with who they really are in connection to creation just by the primary blade band. So it goes like that, of course, from rutilated quartz, lapis lazuli, golden healer quartz, lapis lazuli, and rutilated quartz till the sequence completes itself and grounds back into the transmutation ratio to encourage the circuitry of this energy to be further grounded into the entire emanation of the tangible range or into the cellular structure, that kind of thing. So that'd be just the primary blade band scaffolding, which once again will work to take all the other frequencies yet to be mentioned and redirect and perpetually recirculate through this entire circuit as these other components are discussed. And so before I do the other composition right here of these guys, everything here is of course grounded to a single primary wire, which would be the main vein of the construct. So they're all generating vibrational compound interest. And so every other frequency I mentioned thus far, and also yet to mention, will of course be more like organs to the crystalline entity before me that are all going to be vibrating in tandem in harmonic pitch to generate the entire base vibratory threshold output. Then right here at the very apex would be turquoise, just like lapis, a lovely stone, the blue ray, that is quite literally the favorite of millions for thousands of years, just like lapis in that regard. Turquoise is a very fantastic 5th chakra stimulant, as well as being a lovely earth, fire, water, and wind pranic generator at the fifth ray focus, which means it's very much a stone of wholeness and truth, praised literally across the world. That would take a very long time to discuss to really have the dissertation on turquoise by itself. So moving on to fulgurite. Fulgurite is actually petrified lightning literally striking sand, which is actually the force energy of lightning caught in sand. Very powerful stuff. So just like lightning emanation, it has the aspect of being a very powerful lightning mimicking frequency stimulant that activates the entire light body from top to bottom very quickly. And was a classic First Nation shamanic spirit tool to intensify their prayers back to Creator, to, of course, intensify their manifestations and utilize the lightning to say their prayers with great intensity. So even a little bit dose of that is a very powerful full light body activator as well. And so that's a very, very vivid, intensive stimulant, but that is, of course, well-directed and grounded and recirculated through the entire construct to have the lightning frequency be a very powerful full light bison from top to bottom. Literally the force of lightning running through a current, which of course is very illuminating to the entire chakra column in unison. Then above that would be Libyan gold tektite. Libyan gold tektite is a very powerful golden ray crystal that was utilized by the Egyptian pharaohs to be carved into scarab beetles for their power breastplates, so their badge of antiquity of being Magi God Kings. So Libyan gold tektite is a very powerful ancient Egyptian utilized frequency and is perhaps the most unsurpassed golden ray stimulant mineral kingdom to stimulate the sacrum and solar plexus fire, yet the illumination frequency of this Mysterious space-borne crystal is also very illuminating to the entire energy body as well, which is a very powerful sovereign agent, and particularly in tandem lapis lazuli, to have one's will and intention, also most importantly their confidence in who they are in creation, be tremendously amplified, as well as being its own dharmic accelerant to have one's will align with their higher self divine will into the manifestation of reality. So a tremendously amazing, beautiful crystal of great illumination, which I refer to as goldavite, which would be my joking reference to its green ray cousin, moldavite, speaking vibrationally speaking, of both being mysterious space crystals, basically. So without further ado, moldavite, right here, this green ray crystal is the quintessential green ray storm elemental heart chakra stimulating connection to creation, which is very, very powerful in aligning one's true self to their dharmic template and to be a very massive dharmic accelerant into the tangible range of the conscious self into reality. So these two together make for a tremendous dharmic acceleration capacity of one's highest truth and manifest into reality in a very obvious overture. Then over here would be Larimar. Larimar is a very fantastic 5th and 6th chakra fire and water elemental stimulant that brings great calm and soothing goddess energies, so to speak, as well as it's quite the famous stone these days. It's only discovered in 1982 in Dominican Republic, but it has a very, very strong metaphysical resonance thus far, and it's gained very quickly quite the profound crystalline lore. And so this aspect right here, the Larimar, brings a strong, powerful, soothing oasis of calm capacity of who one really is in that capacity as well. So very complementary to such a heavy Blu-ray concentration device is that nice soothing Larimar seen right there to bring nice calm, self-aware, witness self, so to speak, to be in flow state with one's true dharmic appointment into creation, into the conscious self. Then above that is another fantastic space rock right here of black tektite, which is a product of nuclear meteorite impacting sand to carry that extraterrestrial cosmic jolt into creation, which is a very powerful black ray, full light biasement as well. And luckily, since it's a black ray, it raises the vibration very powerfully from the feet up to have a whole new foundation of excessively high vibratory yield of literally the extraterrestrial energy vaporizing sand, carrying that cosmic jolt into crystalline structure, which takes the entire frequency and boosts the entire vibratory output threshold from, thank goodness, from the ground up for a very powerful, tangible full light body activation from the bottom. So this next section I'll be discussing will technically be where the hood is. So this right here, this blue leather, is far more than aesthetics. I will describe its mechanism right now. So of course, it being a lovely lapis blue leather right here, it's very complementary in color therapy resonance to be a very powerful 5th chakra stimulant as well as a way to protect these little stones while it's being worn, seen in here, which will be described momentarily, as well as a very important feature is to work as an insulator to condense the excess overture of the energy. So when you have the blade band right here and this section right here with these auxiliary stones, this can also work to basically prevent energy leakages from the apex band and the prior blade band to make the energy more efficient as it runs its circuit through here and here till it condenses and insulates the frequency for more intensive transference of energy going through the apex band and the prior blade band scaffolding. And also, of course, I guess last, almost least though, would be an aesthetic completion for, purposes of looking like a completed construct. But it definitely is far more than aesthetics. It definitely is a very functional piece of the construct. So underneath where the hood will be installed after this video is done is a lovely piece of seraphinite. Seraphinite is a green ray crystal named after the seraphim archangels, and it's perhaps one of the most prolifically utilized healing utilitarian all-purpose crystal I use in all endeavors for a very distinct feature. Seraphinite is a very powerful green ray, full light body stimulant, as well as a very rapid stimulant of the entire chakra column from bottom to top very quickly, but also the aspect too is it works very quickly to decode energy manifestations that basically perpetuate dis-ease in all varieties from mental, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. So that aspect of being a master healer, even in a small dose and a little sub-routine circuit, goes a very long way for harmonious health and perfected dharmic template manifestation into 3D reality. Then, to complement that right there will be a stone named shungite, a black-gray stone that's quite in vogue in this timeline for being very famous for mitigating the effects of 5G and EMF harmful wavelengths that are produced from modern technology that could be quite harmful to the subtle DNA, which works as a great transmutation insulator, just like the black-gray smut quartz concept, to purify the entire energy body as well as the physical body of the atomical structure very quickly, and also mitigate stray radial bombardments of, once again, 5G EMF wavelengths. Shungite's quite famous for that, so even a small dose in a subroutine goes for a very long way to be a very protective, insulating influence. Then over here will be ruby and zoisite. So ruby, like mentioned right here in a more showcased, polished format. Inside zoisite, it's quite the powerful dynamic duo. So the ruby, of course, in the structure of the zoisite makes for a very strong stimulation of the root chakra, which is quite famous. Then the aspect of the zoisite, green ray, is one of the most powerful heart-mind coherence alignments in the mineral kingdom. So we have the dynamic aspect of the ruby being a very gusto for life stimulant with the heart-mind coherence well established. It makes for a truly tremendous dynamic transition to one's dharmic self made real. Because the heart-mind coherence is, I consider, a very obvious goal in the spiritual quest. To know thyself in one's heart and consciously know it is a big aspect of ruby and zoisite. And that's, of course, one that particular crystal is well utilized as well to maintain heart-mind coherence so that one's dharmic template, of course, can be consciously perceived through the quantum connection the heart has to all of creation in that capacity. And right here is rose quartz, a very lovely, famous pink ray, high heart love frequency, divine alignment crystal. Even a small dose goes a long way to bring a nice love vibration to the whole structure. Then at the very top of this construct, at the top of this wood, which actually is cedar wood from right here in my backyard, from this guy right over here. So the aspect of cedar wood is quite famous in its own way, and also makes for a great foundation of the wood bandwidth to have different various mysticism, esoteric beliefs, which I will just go ahead and keep going to consolidate this video, but it is indeed cedar wood as the core of the device. And the apex of the core right here would be tourmalated quartz. This actually is quartz with black tourmaline in the structure. So quartz, like mentioned thrice, is a fantastic neutral ambient accelerant of the energy of this entire device, which also is very programmable to the intentions of the wielder to run prayers or intentions or codes, if you would, into the entire structure. These are the more neutral ambient aspects right here, thereby conferring this device into be consciousness-assisted technology in that capacity. But the aspect of the clear quartz with black tourmaline at the very apex, it makes a massive natural amplification of black tourmaline, which is another black-gray crystal quite in vogue these days for transmuting negativity into positivity by encouraging the strong grounding of the energy into the Earth star chakras into the Earth for rapid two-way reprocessing or another layer of etheric dialysis, which also makes for a fantastic aspect. And also another joke I employ for the transmutation ratio is like etheric Teflon, where this frequency strongly grounds so quickly that it discourages divisiatory stray energies to stay in the field. It actually gets dispersed very quickly by design in that capacity. So that's another lovely layer of that concept. Okay. That was quite the mouthful, or 18.5 minutes so far. Okay, so last but not least, I always save this for last to be a comprehensive capstone of any given device, would be the selenite seen right here, which has been adhered to the side of the cedar wood wooden core. So selenite plays a very critical role in these constructs, which I'll describe right now. So the selenite by itself is a very fantastic 6th, 7th, 8th soul star, non-physical chakra all the way back to one's godhead, so it makes for a very fantastic two-way communication between the conscious self and the higher self at any given resonant field, which is already fantastic in its own right for spiritual enlightenment concepts and employment in a vibrational engineering endeavor. But that also works for a very fantastic a gateway key to the highest self in conscious self-perception, which is already very advantageous, like I mentioned. But also with that high-frequency induction, it also works a great way to burn off stagnant energies that would not be of one's true divine source-aligned self in rapid time, which makes it a master healer of great notoriety. But the aspect where it truly shines an even light tech and why I save it for last is exactly this. So this entire closed-loop circuit of reperpetuated crystalline vibratory energy running its sequence goes right past this, of course, at the center of the device, which can take the entire frequency pitch mentioned for nearly 20 minutes now. It can purify all these crystals in the circuit. It can amplify or intensify all these crystals, and most importantly, perhaps, it would also bring harmony and equilibrium to the entire frequency pitch. So when you have the trifecta of all these frequencies in one closed-loop reactive circuit being purified, amplified, intensified, and also harmonized and brought to equilibrium, that's the true dynamic grounds for a functional spirit tool. So that's why I say that philosophy to be a very comprehensive capstone for its importance. Then next to that would be the kyanites of black and blue kyanite seen right here. So black kyanite, actually before I go further, kyanites are the most rapid transfers of energy in the mineral kingdom, hence their employment next to selenites is very much crucial for the intended design's output or performance. So black kyanite is the most rapid energy transference of the black ray to ground all this energy very rapidly in. That's why I move my pen so fast for illustration purposes. To ground all this excess energy of this entire device so quickly into the earth that the constant contact patch of ideal grounding is maintained at faster than light speed, pretty much. As well as it makes for a fantastic surge protector of the frequency emanation to ensure the entire frequency pitch of this device is rapidly transferring so quickly in the earth that it makes the magic real and also brings comfort to the wielder. Then the aspect right here of the blue kyanite is also a very fantastic blue ray 6th chakra, third eye stimulant, which rapidly bridges the left and right hemispheres into the proper configuration of the whole brain thinking that is the awakened third eye at a very quick rate as well. So that aspect too makes for great transferences of this wisdom to be very rapid. Faster light pretty much is the prerogative of kyanite. And so that brings also another layer of etheric Teflon to make sure that the black and blue are rerouting energy so quickly that divisitory lesser frequencies would have a very hard time sticking to this rapid transference of energy from internal or external influences, for example, of divisitory nature not aligned with source, to rapidly transfer the energy into tangible reality. So that'd be the aspect right there. All right, well, I guess that'd be the entire composition of wisdom fully notarized and discussed thus far. Well, 1,000 blessings, and may we all have a fantastic day, and the force be with us always.